Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me today on this live stream and recorded interview with Caleb Kilburn, the master distiller for Kentucky Peerless Distilling. Now, here we are in a situation where we are isolated, and the Kentucky distilling community is in the headlines all the time. Why? Because a good amount of them are making hand sanitizer. Kentucky Peerless, we're going to find out what they're doing in this time. But their survey came out from craft distillers across this country from an organization called ACSA, the American Craft Spirits Association. And they basically polled their members and found out that 2/3 of them thought that they were going to go out of business if this virus continues. If you think about this, a lot of these distilleries have put all their efforts into things like visitor centers, new packaging. They've got whiskey in their warehouses that they don't have demand for it right now because it's aging. So a lot of these smaller distillers are in great fear of the future. Obviously, the stimulus packages that have been passed are going to be helpful. But I wanted to talk to a distillery I know very well called Kentucky Peerless here in Louisville to find out how they are handling the virus. And we're going to go straight to it. I'm going to go to an interview with Caleb Kilburn. Hey, Caleb Kilburn. What's up, brother? How you doing?
I just weathering the storm, just like everyone else.
Yeah. Now, what is your day like now?
Well, a lot less tours. Effectively, there are none. We've actually cleared out all of the. There's no tours. There's no dedicated retail. There's nobody coming in the facility who doesn't work here. We've kind of dwindled things down to a skeleton crew, and that's really to try to preserve as much health and sanitary conditions as possible. We are practicing our social distancing, and everybody's going around here like crazy with Lysol and hand wipes and sanitizer, and it's different. But at the core of it, we're still continuing to make whiskey. We are still cooking, distilling, barreling. We actually just sent a truckload of barrels out to our Henry County warehouse earlier today, and that's always nice because then we can break people up in smaller work crews to where there's less contagion possibility.
So, you guys, has there been any discussion about making hand sanitizer?
Well, everybody's been asking that. The recipe that I've seen and the ones I've went through has you getting very, very high as far as alcohol content. Most of the recipes requiring 190 proof,
That's
and
right.
that's just not something that our equipment's made to do. With that in mind, we've been focusing on continuing to make whiskey, and we've actually opened up a curbside service to where we can actually try to support the U.S. Bartenders Guild. So what we're doing is a portion of our proceeds from the sales that go through up front, again, with a very nice young lady with gloves, mask, all that, brings it out curbside for you. You can order that online. We're taking a portion of those proceeds and trying to support the bartenders, the people who've worked so hard to support us over the years. We're trying to continue to support them
Yeah, and the
because
thing.
they're hurting hardest in this.
That's true. That's true. But there was also a survey that came out by the American Craft Spirits Association that that they're that 2/3 of the craft distillers
Mhm.
are likely going to close within 3 months if things continue as the way they are under this kind of a pandemic.
Oh,
How?
I mean, we're not in a boat where we're imminently like gonna crash or close or fold up shop or anything like that. But it is obviously a large chunk of cash flow that is taken away from not just us, but all the distilleries. I mean, bourbonism has been a lifeline for us. So
Mhm.
we're definitely missing it. But to that point, it's always looking around and see who's got it worse and how can we help lift them up rather than how we're personally impacted.
That's such a great attitude to have. I think that's like one of the reasons why people like it is you don't always, you think about others before yourself. I've always noticed that about you. But now I want to shift it a little bit. You just got engaged not too long ago.
Yes, I'm really excited. I'm not counting the days or anything, but it's 92 days away.
That's awesome. Has there been any like change in like the plans for your marriage? Like
Well,
in terms of
the
the wedding, not that, not that she's called it
no,
off on you yet, but
she hasn't called it off on me, and I appreciate you including the yet. uh, no. Things are chugging right along. We're going to continue with the same mindset as far as we're going to get married. We're going to have the same core people there. The question is, depending on how things go, whether or not we want to downsize it. And at this point, we're probably going to wait here for another 20 days or so when we would have been sending out invitations anyway. But I'm leaning toward the side of just trying to be safe. And again, this is it's not just the work side; it's everyone has a personal responsibility as a citizen, just as a humanitarian. When I go home at some point to visit my grandparents, I don't want to be packing anything with me. I love my grandmother very much. I don't want to see her right now because I don't want to get her sick. Let alone when we get to the wedding, if there's droves of people coming out, I don't want any of them getting her sick. So as of right now, it's just one of those social responsibilities. Social distancing, do it. Do it.
but it's still weird, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm walking my dog and I see this lady like, move like 5 feet away from me. And my initial instinct is, what, do I stink? And then I'm like, oh, that's right. Social distancing.
Well, heck, last night I was talking to my neighbor, and the dog comes up to me, and I go to pet it, and she's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Don't touch the dog, because you touch the dog touches me." So I've had to. There's so many norms, so many things that you're just accustomed to doing that we've just have to kind of break that mindset of this is not okay.
Yeah. We can
And
just
again,
put
it's a sacrifice on everyone's behalf, but it's what we have to do.
we can definitely put it in that weird column, right?
Oh, it feels like I've been in a movie for the past month and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, this is nothing I've ever experienced in my lifetime. I'd say you've never seen anything like this.
No. No. It's bad when the like people like ISIS are saying, maybe we don't go out and have attacks because you might get coronavirus. So,
I didn't even think of it in that context.
uh, you know, but there's just all kinds of weird stuff going on like that. People are making odd decisions. Uh, but I want to get back to the whiskey side of things. Are you seeing when you talk to your farmers for the grains? Are there
Mhm.
any concerns there? What's it like from like the acquisition of grains at this point?
Well, we've always worked with Consolidated Grain and Barge, which is just 8 minutes away from the distillery. I don't personally make the trips over to the granary, so I haven't heard exactly what they've been doing. A young fellow who works at the distillery by the name of Bodie Clark, uh, he'd be able to weigh in on that, but he's not here at the moment. He's Rick and Barrels.
But there's no like change in grains. You're not getting slower, any less, or anything like that. Okay.
Well, it's actually you've always got to try to find the best in these circumstances. So even though we're hurting a little bit as far as the revenue stream from the retail side, that actually being shut down has allowed us to repurpose some of the workforce and take care of a lot of facility maintenance that we couldn't do if the public were in here. For instance, we cleared out all of the furniture in the retail space, and we've resealed the concrete, for instance. Things that are going to pay long-term dividends that we just haven't been able to justify shutting people out to do.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that, we've redone the countertops. We are doing some different construction tasks around the place. So it's, like I said, you got to look for the best in things. And something I'm really proud of, as far as something that's just a testament to the man that Corky Taylor is, he has continued to help us keep these people engaged, because the tour guides, the people working in retail, the ones who are not an at-risk population, the ones who are able and comfortable working, we continue to keep them engaged within the facility. For instance, Hunter, who is a great tour guide, now he's been working the concrete and mopping and doing everything around the facility. Jared has been handling barrel movement. We've had Perry, she's the one who's actually heading up the curbside service. So we've been able to keep everyone engaged, and some people who don't have to be here on a daily basis, we're actually advising them to stay away and work from home. Tara Bowling, who I know you're familiar with, Peyton, who works at managing retail, a lot of those people are working remotely. So really right now what we're trying to do is limit risk as much as possible. Anyone who's not comfortable, there's absolutely no penalty. Just stay away. If you're sick, please stay away. No one else wants it. It's just trying to work through this in as smart and civil a matter as possible. Because, again, it's all about what can we do to benefit our employees, people, City of Louisville. Because this isn't something where you look within your four walls and, we'll be fine. It's the greater good. What can we do?
Yeah. And, there's always, in this time, we're seeing a lot of distillers, jump in and make hand sanitizer. You obviously stated that your equipment could not handle it. When this kind of thing was happening around World War II, you had small distillers, go out of business when the government mandated, no more whiskey making, but you can make industrial alcohol. And there were all kinds of people who were outfitting their stills. President Trump has talked about it a little bit. He may invoke, enforcing manufacturers to do things like this for the country.
Yeah.
And if that happens, you guys won't be able to make whiskey. Has that been something you all have talked about? Are you concerned about that at all?
We haven't went down that rabbit hole just yet. I didn't even realize that was a pun because Rabbit Hole signed on to make. Hey-o. Anyway.
He'll be here all day, folks.
Whatever we have to do, if we are called upon to figure out a way, hell or high water, to make hand sanitizer or anything else for this country, we're going to do it. There isn't an efficient way. There isn't a way that we are currently set up to where we could produce GNS. That's 190 proof, and that's what the standard recipe calls for. I notice you have a vodka sucks sign directly behind you. Essentially, if you are capable of producing 190 proof, you're capable of producing vodka. Everything in this facility is engineered around a very robust 130 proof whiskey, so it's hard for us to be able to retool things to make that jump. But with that in mind, again, if we receive the call of our country, we'll find a way to make it work.
Okay.
We have the benefit of working with Vendome Copper and Brass Works right down the road. We have a lot of really good mechanical contractors, a lot of people who have been just wealths of knowledge. So if the choice is given to us to either bow out or find a way to contribute, we'll find a way to contribute.
That's very noble of you guys. So, all right, I wanna jump ahead. Let's say we keep this going, and everything's at the rate that we're at now, and we have no idea where this thing's going to go. You are one of those people that I feel like you could make alcohol out of dirt and a tree limb. So let's say people have to start making alcohol at home, not distilling, just basic, a basic fermentation out of anything. What do they need to do to be able to make alcohol at home?
Well, just for clarification, when you talk about things that are fermentable at home but not necessarily distilled, you're probably not reaching a high enough alcohol content to where you could use it as a form of sanitizer, as a form of cleaning things. Because what you'd actually be doing is subconsciously you'd have a false sense of security. If you were to crack open a Milk Ultra and treat it as hand sanitizer and wash your hands with it, it's not actually washing your hands. You're rinsing it, but you're potentially giving a false sense of security of how clean things are. So I
Well,
wouldn't advise.
well, let's say that they're not necessarily wanting to wash their hands with this stuff. Maybe they got a,
Okay,
little sipping action.
so and let me qualify this statement by saying there was no history of alcohol production within my family. I'm first generation kind of black sheep within the industry in that regard. But my grandfather used to tell me stories about when he was a young, impressionable young man. Him and his buddies would, of course, go across the hills of eastern Kentucky, and when they would happen upon a moonshining still, what they do is they called the mash homebrew. It basically just really, really terrible beer. And they would drink themselves silly on that. So anytime you have a fermentable sugar, all you have to do is introduce some variant of yeast to it. And assuming you don't have the sugar too concentrated or it's not at crazy temperatures, it's going to ferment.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that sugar source could be fruit, whether it could be cane sugar, whether it could be brown sugar, molasses, I'd say if you're getting into grains, that's going to be a little bit too complex for the average person at home. But in essence, there all you have to do is have some of it milled, almost like a flour. And as long as you have a malted grain to also introduce into it, you can work with that approach. Really, any way that you can get a fermentable sugar, and there's enough yeast around to where it's going to keep going anyway.
So let's say, could you effectively do this? Could you get a couple bags of sugar, put in put it in a bucket of water, and then just
Okay.
cover it and leave it outside, and like the natural yeast would get in there, and would it eventually ferment?
I'd want to have a little bit of a nutrient base. Just giving yeast sugar is kind of like you just eating raw sugar. It's not going to be a balanced enough diet for it to actually thrive. So I would introduce a little bit of flour, some sort of macerated organic matter, just to provide a nutrient base. But generally, when we're starting up a fermentation here, we're getting up around 15 to 20 bricks. And bricks is it's always over complicated for no reason. Bricks is just the amount of solids per unit weight. So if you were to have a 10-pound bag of sugar, you would mix that with 90 pounds of water and you would have a 10 bricks solution. Again, we're getting into some weird chemistry stuff, but basically all you got to do is take a little bit of sugar with a decent chunk of water and it's going to ferment more than likely.
So there you go, folks. Caleb Kilburn's apocalyptic, really crappy beer. Just a little bit of flour, a little
Grandfather
bit of
called it
homebrew. What do you call it?
homebrew. That's what he
Homebrew.
called it. But again, in no way am I suggesting that you make the terrible stuff. The good people at the different facilities producing beer, wine, whiskey, all that above, we've been fortunate enough to allow to been continuing to work, making sure that the grocery stores and different retailers are able to continue to carry our products. And believe it or not, it's actually helped out quite a bit as far as keeping things moving. Hopefully, it's keeping some people in good spirits.
Yeah.
Funny story, that right when all this was getting ready to break, it was before they actually shut down bars and restaurants. My parents had a friend who they met for dinner here in town, and he had taken one of the Peerless 200 ml bottles, all in cork, filled it up with Purell, and had a pump around the top. So I had a Peerless hand sanitizer bottle.
Oh, nice. Well, maybe in time you might have your own vintage Peerless hand sanitizer. But I hope you're able to continue making whiskey, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And coming up here in a bit, folks. So now we have this next session is he's actually taking me on a tour of Peerless. Now, if you've never been to Peerless, it's in downtown Louisville, and it's basically the main highway coming into the city from Indiana. is right there. So you usually get like a lot of traffic. And it's the first time that I had ever seen that area to be completely empty. So this is kind of startling, really, to watch this. Now, Caleb did take this with his cell phone camera, no tripod, and he was walking around. So full warning: if you get motion sickness, be careful. So this does have a lot of like moving motion. But if you're going to leave us, make sure you hit that subscribe button before you head out, because I'm going to have a lot of these kinds of interviews popping up every single day in addition to other content. Now, let's take a quick tour of the Kentucky Peerless Distillery. Oh, man, look at that. Completely empty streets, Caleb. Show us around. What's going on here?
Yeah. So this is looking up toward Main Street, and really it's pretty bare place right now. But again, that's what we've been called to do, so that's what we're dealing with.
And then
everybody's
right there,
staying home,
and then right there, that's the main interstate coming into town, and
yes, that is 64.
That's completely bare.
I saw a bus go by a moment ago, but that's about it. Yeah.
Wow, look at that. All right, well, let's take a look. The distillery
mainly industrial vehicles. Oh yeah, no, we've actually been able to do quite a bit of maintenance, a good bit of cleaning, getting things prepared and ready.
Yeah, maybe you can get the city to come out and fix the roads there. I noticed there's some potholes.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Heck, I'm really glad that over here just got cleaned up.
Yeah, that's right.
So now,
yeah,
we had a lot of construction going on. So when people come for curbside, they'll dial the number there. What'll happen is you'll have a confirmation. You'll have to have your ID ready, and we'll have someone come out through the door and deliver perfectly safely.
Okay, so someone can just how do they get in contact with you? Is that the phone number right there?
That is the phone number.
All right, folks. So call 502-566-4999, and you can have some curbside barrel-proof Peerless. Is that right?
You've got it. Our single barrel picks from the gift shop are our primary focus here, because that's what's going to bring in the most amount of money for the U.S. Bartenders Guild.
Okay. All right, well, let's take a look. Let's keep going down and see what's going on in here.
Absolutely. So now we are going inside of Peerless, a place that no one's getting to come right now.
So this is an exclusive tour to the viewer.
It is. You might notice the brand new shiny concrete finishes. That's going to be courtesy of Hunter, who you'll get to meet.
Oh, wow.
Safety first and foremost. Okay, so this is Perry. She is manning the curbside pickup when you're calling. She's who you're talking to.
Okay. Now, Perry, have you had any problems with people? Everybody been nice?
Oh, yeah, everybody's been super nice, actually. Yeah, super nice, and really excited just to have this available, so, yeah.
Nice. And is Caleb being a good boy? Is he staying 6 feet away from everybody?
I don't have a measuring tape, but it looks to appear so.
Okay. All right. Now
it's over here is Hunter. He's going through and getting everything spick and span. You can see that he has been sealing and getting the place looking great.
How you doing, Fred?
Good to see you. That looks like a lot of hard work.
Not too bad.
Not too bad? All right. Is this something
so
that you all were planning?
So both in
were you
tourism
all planning to do
and
this?
in concrete work.
Were you all planning to do this even before the virus?
No, well, it's something that we knew needed to be done, but we haven't been able to find a good day to tell the public, no, you can't come in. We're going to take care of all this. The tourism industry is so strong, it's hard to turn it away for a week to do maintenance. So, like I said, there are silver linings and everything.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep looking through here. I like what I see. Nice. That's a nice looking floor.
Oh yes, it's they've done an awesome job. Everything in here, you can basically see your reflection in. One person who is suffering a little bit through this is Rye is definitely missing
Oh,
out on her usual workload, her usual amount of attention.
she's not getting the loving she deserves.
She's been a little needy. So, as far as the different single barrel picks we have available right now, we have Ole Mole as a rye. We have Speyside Sour as a rye. Over here, on the bourbon side, we have Barrel Aged Sorghum, Kentucky Mule. We also have several that are going to be coming on board here pretty soon. I think a bourbon called Smokehouse. Oh, it is available? Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
How do you
Shows you how
like
much
that?
I know. Yeah.
Well, you just make the stuff, Caleb. You're not involved with the marketing. That's a whole different beast. Although you come up with all these names, right? Aren't you the guy who comes up with all the names?
No. I help. I usually have a quirky sense of humor that shows up every now and then, but it's really a team effort on this one. Myself, Perry, Tara, Cordell, Nick, everybody kind of throws their 2 cents in, and usually by the time it goes through everyone, we find something that people can relate to, and that's the main thing. When you talk about a smokehouse barrel, it's not gonna taste like a smokehouse. It's more something that's going to give you an emotional response, kind of a primer to kind of help you prepare yourself to receive some of the notes that barrel is going to yield.
Well, I remember the last time I picked a barrel there, I just wanted to call it Rye 1 and Rye 2, and you wouldn't have it. You kept fighting me. I was like, I don't want to name it. I just want to call it Rye 1.
We're talking about one of the best opportunities for puns and wordplay and descriptive language.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a wordsmith. It's just such a waste of your talents to say Rye Barrel 1.
Rye Barrel 1 has a simplistic beauty, my friend. All right, what else do we got here? Let's get into the warehouse. I want to see what's happening in the warehouse because maybe.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've already started walking this way. Let's swing up by fermenters, which at this point of the day we've got them all full. We've already shut the cooking down.
Mm-hmm.
We've already shut the stills down. Actually, it's Fridays. We traditionally go with a single fermenter, both cook and distill. So usually that lets people get out of here a little sooner. The reason behind that is our evening distiller is also the warehouse manager who has to go out to Henry County, so he can't come back to finish distilling.
Okay.
A very small number of people carry a lot of burden around here as far as the different workloads. So this is the one that was cooked today. It hasn't got up and rolling yet. Still very sweet, very fresh. Over here is one that's much further along in its fermentation. We are running at full capacity right now, so all 6 fermenters are full.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's spanning a weekend, these are going to be set a little bit cooler in temperature. So they're not going to be quite as violent a fermentation as the ones that are operating on a 3-day beer, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're moving right along. Like I said, it's toward the end of the day, so our cooker, Tuck, has already left for the day.
Mm-hmm.
He's left a clean workstation, ready to start up on Monday morning, 6 a.m.
Right on. I just I always admire when I come to your facility. I always admire the ceilings, that beautiful old wood, and having you walk
that
through
guy in
here.
particular, though.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful. I mean, this is if you're a fan of wood, and you like to see treatments of wood and how restoration happens, your building is just like a walking example of how to restore with old wood. It's really cool.
So, yeah, we've already shut down and locked down the back of the building. These barrels are likely going to be filled probably prepped Wednesday, filled Thursday. We actually just filled 68 yesterday, so big batch size.
There she
We've already
is.
shut all this. That's her.
That's the baby. You got to be almost at capacity now, right? You probably need a bigger still at the rate you're going.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say no, but for where we're at right now, she's doing an awesome job for us.
Yeah. Well, it's a workhorse, that's for sure.
And we treat it as such. So we we've already kind of ceased processing the barrels. We're again trying to downsize the crew, so we haven't been throwing crazy numbers of barrels out at the moment. But we are keeping up with demand. Peerless is available. We have been. We actually have a big shipment getting ready to go out. A lot of stuff that was bottled prior to the shutdown. So we've got a lot of stuff that's getting ready to be hitting the shelves. It was surprising when all the rush for people to go into the grocery stores and liquor stores and everybody who was prepping for the worst. Apparently they had a sweet tooth for whiskey because the shelves are pretty barren with Peerless, and we're excited that now we've got it back out. We've got it resupplied, because there for a minute it was very scarce.
And how does that work with like the distribution system? Like, okay, we got to stop for a moment here and just take a look. Folks, we can't go to these places right now, so just take it all in. Just a beautiful setup of barrels. And oh wait, go back there. Go back over there. Do you have a lock on that window? Is there a way we can get in that window in the middle of the night or anything?
So I'll go and zoom in so we don't have anybody trying it. We have. Oh
yeah, that's gonna be hard to get into. Not that I would go in there in the middle of the night and crack open a barrel or two. I would never do that.
That implies that you have to come in the middle of the night. Come anytime. But I will say at the moment we are going to be using disposable glassware that I'm not touching yours and you're not touching mine. Even as antiseptic as alcohol is, we're not going to risk it.
Wow. So you guys are going to start using disposable glassware for the tasting.
Yeah. Wow. No, it's we went through a tasting earlier today, so we don't reuse the glassware. We don't do anything. There's actually one lone cup left out here. Even when we're testing off the still, just one of the precautions we use, we're working with these little cocktail glasses.
Wow.
So we'll take that, we'll use it one time, then we throw it away and it's gone.
Wow. Oh, man.
But we have to adapt.
Yeah.
We don't want to put our employees at risk, but we also have to keep the ship moving forward. So it's one of the things we do.
You know, I got to say, too, like, I'm just thinking to myself, like, there goes, like, all the nosing, all the aromatics for nosing, because those things, like, they don't really have much of a nose, you know?
Yeah. No, that is one thing that we notice. It is terrible trying to get a nose off that open of a glass.
Yeah.
It's different, but like I said, right now we are rough grading barrels and placing barrels where we see fit, where we want them to go. And this will be a fun one. Have I ever told you the new system I'm using for sorting barrels?
No, I don't know about this.
Okay, so when we grade barrels, typically we used to have very coarse grades, and we were trying to say this flavor profile, this wing, this number, and it was getting pretty convoluted. So we kind of dropped things back to whether we felt that it was a single barrel quality, good for a mingle, or if it needed more time. And if it needs more time, there's no point of even reviewing it any longer. It's just going to go back in the rick. If it's one that we thought had promise, we'll check it in probably 6 months, if not longer. If it's an X, we're not checking it for a year. So what we've done here, this center aisle, this is where we feel our single barrels are. Outside of that, we have ones that we feel are mingle quality. We've been using a triangle to denote those. And then X ones are, well, X's.
Okay.
So this way we can sort it, we can keep things straight. And what we do is we build the majority of a box or the majority of a batch. And then once we taste that spirit and we see where it's strong, where it's lacking, how we need to help it, that's when we actually go and we'll pick certain single barrels to fill out that portion of the flavor wheel. So, for instance, if I'm making a batch and I have 15 barrels in there and I need just a few more, and I taste it and it needs a little bit of sweetness, or it needs a little bit of pop, if it needs a little spiciness. We're going to taste through until we find barrels that are going to be complementary and really fill out the flavor wheel for that batch.
Wow. Well, Caleb, looks like you've thought everything through, and this virus is not going to keep you down or Peerless. So really appreciate you taking the time. And folks, if you're watching this and you're in Kentucky, so again, if you are in Kentucky, make sure that you're calling up Peerless and you're buying one of those bottles. They'll bring it out to you, curbside pickup. You get it straight from the distillery, and some of that money is going to help bartenders. Now, in the comment section, I'm going to put a link to how you can help bartenders as well. We did a fundraiser about a week and a half ago. I guess it was last week now we did a fundraiser. In total, we came close to raising $10,000, thanks in part to Evan Williams donating $5,000 onto that during that live tasting, and Wes Henderson from Angels Envy doing a live he donated $1,000 as well. So listen, I'm going to be doing a lot more of these live streams, so make sure you're clicking that subscribe button, and I need your help. I need to know what you want to see during these live streams. The way I'm doing is I'm trying to get into people's homes. I'm trying to get into people's distilleries. I also have some celebrities coming up that have agreed to come on with me. So I'm going to be doing a lot of these things, but I want to make sure that I'm bringing you content that you actually want to watch, because there's nothing worse than creating something and you think it's awesome and then no one likes it. I know about that. I've written books like that. But so listen, I want to make sure I'm delivering, and I also want to know what time. This time right now, the time of this live stream was probably the best time for me. Now, when I am doing live tastings, I often do them at 9 o'clock. Keep in mind that this is my work. This is what I do for a job, and I do like to have that, those evenings with my family. So I'd like to limit my 9 o'clock live streams as much as possible, maybe one a week. But I want to get on a schedule that I can deliver the stuff that you all want to see. So if you have a guest that you have in mind for a live stream, hit me up, and you can contact me through my website at fredminnick.com. And make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, click the likes, and remember, vodka sucks. Until next time, cheers. Be safe out there.